please stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk Norris, please call the roll.
Mayor McCullough?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns?
Yes.
Councilmember Radner?
Here.
Councilmember Becker?
Here.
Councilmember Whitehead? Here.
Okay, gang's all here tonight. We have a quorum. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
What? So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. The following items are presented for city council approval without discussion as a single agenda item. Should any council member wish to discuss or disapprove any item, you can be dropped from the blanket motion and considered separately. A, regular city council meeting minutes for January 22nd, 2024, and special city council meeting minutes for the same date. Recycling Commission meeting minutes for November 16th, December 21st. D, investment report for period ending 12/31/23. E, budget to actual report for period ending 12/31/23. F, payment application number 4 for the 2023 block pruning project M748 to Urban Tree Trimming of Detroit, Michigan in the amount of $7,815. G, resolution in support of the Road Commission for Oakland County's 2024 Tri-Party Program. H, payment of invoices from OHM Advisors for GIS DWAM grant, 8 Mile Booster Station rehab for the total amount of $1,079.50. I, licenses new and renewals submitted for February 5th, 2024. All those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We don't have elected officials. There is a special presentation of the strategic plan, end of the year report, and it always astounds me how much is done in 3 months in this city. And we will hear about that from Deputy City Manager Crystal Van Vleck.
Good evening, Council and City Manager, City Attorney, and our City Clerk. Tonight I'm here to give you the report for our year-end report, our 2023 year-end report for our strategic plan. In front of you, you should have a more in-depth report. The presentation that I'm going to show and go over is going to be a little briefer than that, just some of the highlights, but we're not looking back just over the last quarter. We're actually looking back over the year to just give you some highlights of what we did to bring us closer to achieving the goals of our plan. I'll go real quickly over. In 2020, City Council came together to reestablish goals for the next 5 years of the city. At that point, you guys also put together or developed our vision, our mission, and our values. And I'm just going to go through those really quick. And then 6 goals. So our 6 goals are, goal 1 is to deepen sense of place and community identity. Goal 2 is to foster an engaged and informed community. The 3rd goal is to cultivate organizational excellence. The 4th goal is to provide efficient, resilient government. The 5th goal is to ensure a safe and comfortable environment for everyone. And the 6th goal is to encourage environmentally sustainable practices. So again, just throughout this presentation, I'm going to highlight some of the goals. I'll go a little bit over some of the specific objectives underneath each goal, but I'm not going to go over all of them. Our first goal, deepen sense of place and community identity. One of the objectives is to attract and retain a mixture of robust businesses into the city. This year, there were 57 new business licenses issued within the city. We launched the Match on Main grant program. Our economic development department spent the year actively soliciting mixed-use development on 11 Mile and working with property owners, which resulted in one of the property owners listing his property to attract mixed use. They also partnered with the library, Southfield, and Lathrop Village to host business training events quarterly. And the library and the Economic Development Department are actively promoting the Oakland County Thrive organization. In addition to that, the library provides space and marketing for Oakland County Business Forward initiative. And the Economic Development Department actively engages surrounding area chambers of commerce to include our businesses in their events and resource sharing. And finally, we hired a manager of authorities to, among other things, provide support to the businesses within our Corridor Improvement Authority. Another objective under this goal is to improve the overall appearance of commercial corridors and industrial districts. And then another one is to combat blight issues in residential neighborhoods. Last year we issued 645 business license. We performed 645 business license inspections. We performed 1,659 rental inspections. The Recycling Commission hosted two separate park cleanup days. We also issued over 5,000 code enforcement notices over the past year for various properties, and of that we issued 228 tickets. Another objective is to celebrate Oak Park's diversity through events and programs that attract people throughout the region. Some of the events that we hosted throughout the year include Winterfest, the Daddy-Daughter Dance, Summer Blast, the Juneteenth Jubilee celebration, our Summer Entertainment Series, our always popular Farmers Market, the 4th of July Parade and Fun Fest, which saw an increase in participation this year. Recreation hosted the 2nd annual Trunk or Treat in the Water Tower Social District. The Arts and Cultural Diversity Commission hosted their first in-person World Dance Day since the pandemic and their 3rd annual Film Festival. The Communications Department continues to promote our events with robust communication strategies across all of our platforms. Another objective is to invest in public art experiences. The City Hall Art Exhibit Program hosted 3 artists this year with quarterly exhibits. The library hosted several different opportunities for artists, including the Tiny Art Show in August and the Winter Village in December, and other take-home art kits, as well as a citywide poets opportunity for teens. This year, we also saw the addition of the mural on a building adjacent to Oak Park's new dog park. Another objective is to provide programming that responds to the needs of all the demographics in the community. Between recreation and the library, we hosted a plethora of events throughout the year that answers the needs of all of our community members. Another objective to foster social interaction and a sense of ownership at all of our city's public spaces. Of that, 2 of the events that we hosted, which were unique this year, was our Elevate Tailgate. That was hosted in conjunction with the CIA and the city, and also our first Oak Park Oktoberfest. One of the objectives is also to identify best uses for city property to ensure equitable access to quality public spaces. This year, we hired an architectural and engineering consultant to help us further develop and execute the plans for the event hub. After a robust Elevate Oak Park informational campaign, the voters of Oak Park approved 2 recreation millages in November that provides the funding mechanisms to support a new community center and improvements to our parks. The dog park opened in August, and this year saw the beginning of 2 different partnerships for investment in our parks. In July, we finalized an agreement with Oakland County for investments in Shepherd Park that will begin next year. And this year, we began discussions with Berkeley Schools regarding joint investments in Tyler Park. And finally, the 9 Mile Connector Park is near completion with only landscaping and final touches that need to be completed in the spring. Our second goal is to foster an engaged, informed community. One of the objectives is to ensure effective, meaningful communication with the community. We added 332 people to the emergency service notifications this year. The Communications Department created the Dog Park webpage and the Elevate Oak Park webpage, each with unique appearances to be more aesthetically pleasing. They also put together and carried out an extensive communications plan for the Elevate Oak Park campaign, stretching across multiple platforms, digital, print, and in person. The Communications Department is working with the Recycling Committee to develop a sustainable awareness communications plan. And the Public Safety Department spent the year engaging with community members using the ice cream truck, which was out in full force this year. They hosted 2 coffees with a cop, the Citizens Academy, station tours, and school visits. And the Public Safety Facebook page was launched and is already serving as a valuable engagement tool with over 500 followers. The Communications Department has also utilized the monthly water bill to send out important information to residents. Sorry. Well, I'm not sure what happened with this page, but I'll just read through it. The third goal is to cultivate organizational excellence to ensure effective, meaningful communication with the community. To provide high-quality, friendly, responsive customer service. There's supposed to be a graph on here that breaks down all of our GovQA requests, and I think it broke the computer. But we had a total of 849 GovQA requests in 2023. And I can send that graph to all of you so that you can see the breakdown. This is a 10% increase in requests over 2022, and the average response time has decreased from 5.3 days to 4.8 days. The Communications Department and the Resident Services Coordinator work together to identify topics and issues where residents are having issues and increased communication is needed. They worked together with the Municipal Services Department to recreate and redistribute the RAT pamphlet. And through GovQA, they identified a need to establish a communication strategy to educate residents on tree types and cutting seasons. And lastly, for this presentation is Goal 5, to ensure a safe and comfortable environment for everyone. One of the objectives is to provide high-quality public safety services. This year, public safety received 14,864 calls for service and made 7,416 traffic stops and 989 arrests. They strategically direct resources to specific areas, including 2 speed trailers and decoy vehicles where speeding continues to be an issue. This year, we also added a speed trailer. The public safety body cameras have been fully implemented and new in-car cameras have been fully installed. And public safety continues to maintain a consistent response time for priority 1 calls within 5 minutes of being dispatched. The second objective you see here is to sustain and expand a safe and comprehensive transportation network for all users. This year's budget included $3.34 million in investments to our transportation network. That includes the 9-mile repaving project, which is complete with a new protected cycle track. And the CIA also contributed money to new landscaping in all of the areas on 9-mile. And that is it for today's presentation.
Amazing as always. Any questions about what we've been doing for the last year? Like, I remember correctly at the beginning, I thought back to events and there was the 4th of July parade. We have made astounding changes for the better, thanks to the staff that is working their feet off. And we appreciate everything they've done and that they thought up to do. And that it's written down, but they go by what's written down and they evaluate what's written down. And it's numeric and it's impressive.
Madam Mayor?
Please. City Manager?
I just wanted to give thanks and kudos to the Deputy City Manager, Crystal Van Vleck, for, this is a lot. All of the departments are to thank for all of the things that go on in here, but to comprise all of this data into one legible document is quite an undertaking. So Crystal, thank you very much for doing that.
It's my pleasure. I just get to report on all the great things that all of my colleagues are doing, so it's
Isn't
wonderful.
that
So you can
nice?
thank all of them.
Bring and brag.
So we responded to 849 GovQA requests. What sort of requests did you see most of? Was there?
I wish I had the graph up here, but I would say tree maintenance, I believe, is one of the higher ones, yeah.
So in other words, they would ask for tree trimming or tree removal and the city would respond.
Correct, I think that's the majority, which is why our resident services coordinator and our communications director have identified that as a topic that needs a little bit, that the community needs a little bit more information on, so that they have a better understanding of our tree trimming schedules. I believe that certain trees can be trimmed at certain times, Same with removal and replanting, and so that the residents can just gain a better understanding of what that process looks like for us.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Please.
One of those slides that really stuck out to me was the Elevate tailgate, and I remember when we did that back in September. I know the football season didn't end how we wanted it to, but just the way we marketed and got the information out to the people about that, it just was remarkable. So I just want to say kudos.
All the events that bring us together, and all the improvements in the city, it's a good time to be on the staff, and it's a good time to be on the council, and it's a good time to be a resident. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, that was 7. We're skipping down to 12. Bids. Request to award the partial bid for 8 Mile Booster Station Rehabilitation Project, M732, to CSM Mechanical of Milford, Michigan, for the total amount of $470,805. First, is there a motion to approve to request this award?
So moved.
Thank you. I have a question about why was the scope reduced?
Well, good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Manager Tungate. To answer your question, this project's been going on for a little over 2 years. We had some issues with some historical documents that we could not retrieve, so we did some extra work to find the pump curves for the existing pumps on site. And doing that delayed the project, but unfortunately, when we bid it out last week, the numbers just came sky high. So we have a little over $500,000 budgeted for the project. The entire project was kind of a wish list of all things that we wanted done at the station. We've pulled out the essential items that we need done, and that's why we're proposing a reduced scope of $470,805.
Got it. So more will be done next year and the year after, possibly?
We're gonna tackle some of this stuff in-house. We thought we might get kind of an economy of scale type thing where we can have someone come in and do it for a little bit cheaper. But you'll see, if you look at the bid tab, a lot of the stuff we took off is bolt replacement. We feel we can do that internally. So we're gonna.
Say it again, what
We
replacement?
feel that we can do that internally with our staff. So over the next year or so, we'll begin to do that process. Some of the painting of the station, you're right, we may come next year at budget time to ask for that to be done.
Okay.
But for this one, if it's recommended the City Council award the partial bid for the 8 Mile Booster Station Rehabilitation Project M732 to CSM Mechanical of Milford, Michigan, for the total amount of $470,805. Funding is available in the water sewer fund.
Okay, are there questions or comments from
Just have a
Council?
quick question.
Julie Edgar?
So is this rehab project going to impact ordinary residents? Will it stem flooding that we've had? I know this was 2 years ago that we talked about this, so I don't recall all the details, but what will this do for the average homeowner, if anything?
So if all goes well, the average homeowner will not see any changes. The pumps for this project are to do with drinking water, so nothing to do with storm water and drain water. We have 4 existing pumps in this station, and 2 of them are outdated and underpowered for our community. So one of the goals of our department is, make it better than when we got it. So we want to replace 2 of these old pumps with 1 new pump, and then we'll have some redundancy at the department. We'll have 3 operational pumps there. So basically, to answer your question, the normal resident should not see any impact. Just know that the pump station is working. There's backup pumps to provide drinking water to each home.
So it's obviously positive. You're
Yes.
replacing 2 with 1.
Correct.
I have a question. You said there was a portion of the work that you had taken off, and how much did that come to?
That was, let's see, I think it was about $75,000 worth of bolt replacement and flanges for some of the parts. We also took off some of the painting work because, again, it's not essential to this project. We feel that we can come at a later point and repaint the station.
Okay.
Any further questions? Okay, Roll call bid? Roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. We are now at the city manager portion of our agenda. City Manager Eric Tungate.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. 15A is our budget calendar for fiscal year 2024-25 and the 2 years thereafter. I don't need your approval on this, but I do want to open this up for discussion. If you have any questions, this follows our typical schedule. We begin our internal process in the next week, and that is finalized at the end of April when a draft city manager budget is complete, and then the public process begins on April 15th and goes all the way through May 20th, which is hopefully our final approval with city council for our new budget. And again, can't believe that I'm even talking about a new budget already, but I say that same thing every year for the last 12 years now. So here we are.
What keeps everything running? So you don't need a motion?
I don't need a motion, but I would be happy to answer questions that you may have.
Questions about the schedule of the meetings? No? We're good.
I do want to just say, if I could really quickly, Mayor, that we are also looking for the council budget review sessions. We are looking to try to mimic what we did last year, which is to have 2 or 3 of the sessions at a special meeting right before the regular meeting on April 15th, I believe it is. And then hopefully we would finish the remaining sessions in a one-time, all-day session. And I know that sounds like a lot, but I can remember way back, we used to do, 4 or 5 nights and the weekend of budget sessions. So it's a lot in one day, but we do get it knocked out. And obviously the public is welcome to participate in those public sessions.
We are elected officials. We cannot be expected to work for an entire day.
Well, I know almost all of you have full-time
Day jobs,
positions,
yeah.
so I know that hopefully it's better for you too. But we've allotted the week of April 15th through the 19th to arrange for whatever fits with city council's schedule for that week. So we'll notice it in kind with that.
Wonderful. And you're on B.
Okay. 15B, I'd like to have Finance Director Sandra Crawford join me at the podium, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, City Manager Tungate. Before you is the second quarter for December 31st,
Holler into the
2023.
mic. Into the mic, thanks.
Before you is the second quarter for 12/31/2023 budget amendments for the general fund, and it is summarized below. The proposed amendment has no net impact on fund balance, but it includes the following notable items: increase in state Michigan training grant revenues, increase in interest income per significant actual returns to date, a decrease in the state shared sales tax revenue due to the revised state estimates, increase in salaries and fringes for mid-year fiscal 22-23 raises given after the budget for 23-24 was already adopted, and then increase in costs related to unfunded mandates for elections. For the special revenue funds, there was increase in CDBG grant revenue and expenditures to use the balance of the prior year's grant awards, increase in public safety operations for new hires for the drug law enforcement fund. The capital projects funds, there were decrease in sale of property and admin fees and capital outlay due to no purchase and subsequent sales of tax reverted property from the county. Adjusted rollovers for the connector park costs and related grants and donations, and then adjustments for transfers out to other funds to agree with the final budget balance at 6/30/2023. Increase in interest income for better than expected returns for the first 6 months of the fiscal year. In the internal service funds, increase in motor pool fund costs related to repairs that were made on city vehicles due to vandalism and recorded related part receipts of insurance proceeds to cover some of the costs. Overall, the proposed budget amendment has an impact on the fund balance, has no impact on the fund balance of general fund, while keeping the estimated fund balance at approximately 17% of annual expenditures. The amendments to all other funds keeps the fund balance at targeted ranges and are done in compliance with state of Michigan requirements and guidelines. The request of the recommended action is approval of the resolution to authorize budget amendments 2024-3.
Do we need a motion?
Okay. Resolution authorizing the budget amendment. Solomon Radner, and is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem. Discussion.
Madam Mayor, just one question.
Yes.
On page 52 or 56, I guess page 1 of the budget amendment, we have here 5,000 for Juneteenth donation, and then under the decrease, we've got it as cost covered by Juneteenth donation. We're still receiving $5,000 from the city, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what is the cost covered by Juneteenth donation? The miscellaneous?
That was so
Got the additional.
when we got the donation for the 5,000, we increased the revenues, and then we increased the expenditure that's in recreation budget, I believe, for the 5,000 to offset that. So we increased the revenue, and then we increased expenditures, so when charges are made against it, the revenues will offset that. But you still have another place, I believe it's in the
ACD,
council, budget for the ACDC for the.
Got it.
Director
allotment.
Crawford, I'm really simplifying this when I make this statement, but is it fair to say that the way this is presented is a very accounting-friendly
Yes,
way?
it
So
is.
I don't want to, I understand what you're asking, but
Yes, and therefore.
it just
because-
needs an offset in order to net out, so,
Understand.
right.
Thank you.
And it's still gonna be noted who is the donor who is sponsoring the 2024 Juneteenth, correct?
We gave a receipt
Yeah,
to the city manager's office.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I know you
Yeah.
get a receipt, but when you do the communications or
Oh,
things of that nature, is it gonna include,
All the donors,
all the donors?
do you guys do a list? Finance
There-
doesn't,
I'm-
so I don't know what
Okay.
I don't know
There,
what
there,
department that
yeah, no,
does.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
there is a, I'm looking for Courtney back there, but there is a donor,
List?
yeah, okay, so
Okay.
there's a I don't know if you wanna speak to it, Courtney. There is a donor list, I know, and of course, that'll be noted, that donation was made. And that was a donation made by Huntington Bank, is what you're referring to,
No,
correct?
it was by the Torgo family.
Family, yeah.
Gotcha.
Huntington Bank.
Gotcha.
It was by the Torgo family, not Huntington Bank.
Okay, so
Good
there's a-
evening. There is,
in the past, there's been a donor list.
yes, there is a sponsorship program that we have that details out the different sponsorship levels and then what sponsors will receive in recognition of their sponsorship levels. So each person is recognized through the website, social media, on the program. There's various opportunities for them to be recognized.
Thank you.
Any further questions? No, we're good. Roll call, thank you.
Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director Crawford. 15C, I would like to ask Deputy City Manager of Municipal Services and the Department of Public Works, David DeCoster, to join me at the podium, please, sir.
Good evening again. Before you tonight, the Public Works Department is requesting authorization to purchase a 2024 Ford Explorer from the state of Michigan My Deal contract as part of the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. It is recommended that City Council authorize Public Works Department to participate in the My Deal contract for this vehicle totaling $39,832. Funding is available in the motor pool fund.
Okay, motion to authorize the purchase.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion or question?
I think we should do it.
Say it again.
I I think we should do it.
That's good, all right. So explain to all of us why we need the Ford Explorer.
So every year, public safety, we typically replace one undercover vehicle and one marked vehicle. This vehicle in particular is the undercover vehicle. So they have a fleet of, say, 6 or 7 of them. We try to rotate them out every 6 or 7 years, even rotating them into other departments in the city. But this is the undercover vehicle for this fiscal year.
Got it. And they put on a lot of miles.
They do put on quite a lot of miles. And if it's not public safety, they go to engineering or another department where they continue to put on miles.
Well, it's not undercover anymore, Dave. Now it's fully known. Darn it.
Cute. Okay, roll call, thank you.
We actually need a motion, I think.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah, there's a motion.
There's a motion and a second.
Julie made the motion and,
I second.
Sean seconded.
Julie and Sean. Okay,
Mayor McClellan,
yes.
Councilmember Radner,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
and Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you.
Okay, and last but not least, 15D, City Clerk Ed Norris, please.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the 2024 presidential primary, give you an update on that. Specifically, 3 ways that everyone can vote in that election. First of all, the election is February 27th, so polls will be open from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock that night. So that's one option. We have all 16 precincts going. I would like to remind you that precincts 15 and 16 are relocated to Ferndale Upper Elementary for this election. So that's one little change. A second way that we can vote for this election is the absentee ballot voting that's going on right now. So many of you have already submitted a ballot, requested a ballot, and submitted a ballot. So that's going on. You can do that. If you haven't received one, you can contact our office, and we'll be glad to get you set up. You can actually come to our office until the election to vote in person. The third way, which is something new we started in November, is early voting. So there's actually 9 days of early voting prior to the 27th of February, where you can come to our community center and actually vote as just the same as it would be on election day. So those hours actually start on 17th of February. And it's at 8:30 to 4:30, so it'd be every day up until the next Sunday, the 25th. And again, the times are 8:30 to 4:30, with the exception of the Thursday of that week, which is from 12 to 8 p.m. So please take part in the presidential primary election.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Mayor, members of council, that completes the city manager report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager Tunge. Now it's called to the audience. Mayor Pro Tem Carolyn Burns, will you read the remarks?
The City of Oak Park will comply with the spirit and intent of the American with Disabilities Act. Oh, no, sorry, wrong one.
We will really not comply.
Yeah.
I was reading the adjournment. Sorry. Each speaker's remarks are a matter of public record. The speaker alone is responsible for his or her comments, and the City of Oak Park does not, by permitting such remarks, support, endorse, or accept the content thereof as being true or accurate. Any person, while being heard at a city council meeting, may be called to order by the chair or any council member for failure to be germane to the business of the city, vulgarity, or personal attacks on persons or institutions. Also, there is a 3-minute time limit per speaker.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. City Clerk, do we have,
I have a card from Xavier. who'd like to speak.
come on up to the mic. Welcome.
Hi, good evening. There was a research that people fear public speaking more than they fear death, and I can
Yes.
see why.
Yes.
But
That
this
is
is a
true.
kind of a simple idea that I thought I would bring up. I don't know if that's a doable idea, but I've been trying. My work is such that I work a lot with daily with people with addictions and substance abuse issues, recovery code. And so I've noticed during the course of my work, I've done this for a couple of years now, that there's a very high percentage of people who either fall for some sort of issue of that nature, or they return, in other words, relapse, due to a loss, such as death, quite frankly. So I also noticed that I have, and myself, I've had quite a bit of that experience, and I'm myself in recovery for 13 years now. So my reflection was that I actually have nowhere to direct those people to. In other words, there's only been one in-person grief peer support group that I knew of, and that was last year in Ferndale. So I'm simply trying to see if perhaps the city would be able to assist in some form of to basically launch a grief support group in the city, in either of the maybe the assistance would really have to come down to location. I tagged them to a couple spots that I thought would be interested, but it didn't pan out. I think that people think that maybe it's a big project to do, which I don't think it is. All we need is a room and a few chairs, really, and a regular time to meet. So that simply is the idea that I wanted to maybe give to think about for the future. If maybe we could have either in the community center or maybe in the library or maybe even in the city building, some sort of space where people who undergo through grief and loss issues could simply meet, not like as a meltdown sort of table. That's not what it is, but just like 12 steps groups have their peer meetings, and this would be one of the citizens-driven peer support group that I think is much needed, because there's nothing really that I found in the vicinity that would be a regular and that sort of initiative.
Right,
That's all
and
I
some
have.
of them charge, is that right?
I'm sorry?
Some places you can go charge, like I know you can go to a therapist, but that's
Well,
pricey.
but it wouldn't so much be like a organized therapy. That's not kind of, it would be for, that there is a reason why it's a peer support, so that we all who come to this group have this experience and can share strategies, how we go through these notions of different kinds. So not
What
so much-
number of people are you thinking you would, like 3 or 4 people meeting? What number?
Well, however, I mean, then I would like to promote this group, maybe get it to as many people as possible that could benefit from it. That would be not like an exclusive kind of a club, but whoever has that sort of issue that could come and maybe join.
That sounds wonderful. My husband died about a year ago, and he was in hospice, and they provided a lot of written materials that I can share with you that were very helpful. And and ceremonies and little like candle lighting ceremony and things like that are helpful to people. And I think it would help if you talk to our librarian behind you and see if there's something that you could work out.
All right.
And please, before you leave, get my card so you know how to get a hold of me.
Sure. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Have to speak to the librarian. Thank you. Anyone else? Nope, that's it. a lot of exciting stuff is happening in Oak Park, but it's the height of the flu season, and I keep reading about how people are hesitant about getting the COVID shot. Every year, they refigure the flu shot based on the kind of bugs that are out there for us. And this year, they refigured the COVID shot the same kind of way, and we're most of us not afraid of getting the flu shot updated. Don't be afraid of the COVID shot. Won't do anything except mitigate your symptoms. I had COVID, but I had all the boosters, and it was a very mild case. And I'm delighted that I took the shots. So if you do get sick, it's good to go and get tested. If it's garden variety flu, you get Tamiflu. And if it's COVID, there is a special prescription you can get to lessen the symptoms. So stay healthy out there. There's also Nurse on Call. If you have questions, call 800-848-5533. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you everyone for coming out. Joy, glad to see new faces. And thanks to the departments for all the work putting together the presentation. Great job.
Nice.
Thank you.
Councilmember Radner.
Good night.
Councilmember, chatty as always. Councilmember
Edgar.
Edgar, thank you. Julie doesn't do it, yes.
I just wanted to commend the DPW for putting up all the branches this morning. I woke up, they were all over the place. I don't recall hearing a storm come through, but it was great to see the trucks out. I mean, picking up all of the branches everywhere, and then later sending a truck around to pick them up at the curb. So nice work, and that's why people commend Oak Park for its good public services. It's that kind of thing. On that note, I volunteered at Winterfest last week. It was really fun. My clothes still smell like the fire pits because I was stationed at the Samore stand. But it was really just such a wonderful event. Again, you know, I'm always astounded at our population here, that we have such an interesting and kind population. Really enjoyed myself. And then thirdly, and this is something that the mayor will love, of course, a friend of mine was visiting from California, and she's staying with her sister and nieces in Madison Heights, and she came over last night and she said, yeah, my nieces were saying that so much is happening in Oak Park. And I said, yeah, it is. It is happening in Oak Park. So anyway, thank you for coming.
Nice.
Night.
Councilmember Whitehead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just want to say happy February, happy Black History Month, and I really appreciate what the library has been doing with the Black History programming. It's been awesome. I've been seeing the posts. So a lot of great events are planned for this month, thanks to our library director. So have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. There being no further business to come before the council, we are adjourned. Thank you for coming.